So we started off last week looking at sales, and I talked about how you can do the sales from home. You can many different ways to do sales. You can do retail sales. You can do drop shipping. You can do um, I hate to use the word junking, but one person junk, another person's trash, another person's treasure. So you can go to the thrift stores and go to the auctions and take used products and resell them, and you keep all of that profit. You can sell things on eBay through auction sites like that. We talked about Etsy if you're into arts and crafts. So there are a million ways that sales by itself can produce income for you. Look at different online marketplaces like Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace. OfferUp, OFFERUP is an app. You can Google other apps. They have different marketplaces where you can buy things cheaper. And resell them. Sometimes people are selling things because they're desperate. They need a little extra cash. They're not doing it as a business. So if you're doing it as a business, you can wind up actually buying things pretty cheap. Like, for example, let's say somebody has an electric drill that they want to get rid of for $15. You can probably buy it for $15 and sell it for $50, right? So just things to keep a lookout for. You can, again, sell digital products. It's great because you can resell a digital product over and over and over and over again. You buy a drill, you can only resell it once. But if there was a digital drill, an ebook or something like that, you can resell it over and over and over again. So that's a great way to get into that as well. Again, that's just what I talked about last week. Also, blogging. Now, the key is with blogging is to generate enough traffic to where you can start getting advertising revenues. So you have a little ad set up on your website, and then when those ads are displayed, and especially when people click on those ads, you'll get commissions. So that's the way that you monetize blogging. You can also monetize it by becoming an affiliate of other people's products. That's where affiliate marketing comes in. And make recommendations to people. You can do product reviews on your blog, and so when people are looking for reviews, they'll type it in and maybe your blog will come up, So affiliate marketing and blogging overlap in some ways, but that's a way to generate revenue as well. Now, if you want to if you do decide to do blogging and you want to know how do I put the ads on my website, one of the easiest ways is to sign up with Google. Google has a for when you're wanting to advertise, and how you go to the search engine and you type in something, and before you get to the search results, there are some ads that come up. They call them sponsored listings. Well, that's a program with Google called AdWords, AdWords. So when you want to advertise and pay for advertising, you can do AdWords. Well, the other side of AdWords is if you have a site where you want to publish people's ads on. As a marketer, I can create ads through AdWords, and they don't just display on Google, but they also display on these blogs and stuff, right? So if you have a blog, you can register for an account so that when I want to advertise, stuff will show up on your blog because you're a publisher. You're not the advertiser, you're a publisher. You're publishing the ads on your site. So if you do want to sign up for to be a publisher to put those ads on your site, that's a program with Google called AdSense, AdSense. So you can go to Google AdSense and read up on that. Plenty of videos on YouTube, plenty of blogs about AdSense and how to make money with AdSense. Again, that's just publishing ads on your blog. And AdSense Google isn't the only network you can use. There are other advertising networks as well that you can put on your site and make money for showing and displaying ads. But that's just an example, AdSense through Google. All right. So then affiliate marketing, I want to go give a couple of more specifics when it came to, I was thinking back to what we talked about last week, and I thought, I didn't give them very many specific examples. I just talked about it. And I was probably leaving it to you all to go to Google and do your own research. But I think more information is preferable to less. So I want to give you, particularly on this freelancing one, some specific resources or sites that you can go to, some specific ideas that you can tap into on being a freelancer. Now, I did give the example of freelancer.com, where people are needing work done. They need graphic work done. They need a book written. They read their own book, but they need somebody to edit it, to read it, to give their thoughts. You can do that. all types of freelance work, photography, web design, music, if you can sing, all of that. Freelancer. Another one, Fiverr. F-I is five with two R's. Fiverr.com, Fiverr.com. Like I said, you can go to learn different skills. If you want to be able to become a freelancer, you can learn those skills at sites like Udemy. Elder Cindy mentioned Coursera, course, COURSERA.org. That one not a com, that's a .org. There's also teachable.com. But certainly the cheapest of those would be udemy.com, UDEMY.com. But certainly those other ones are definitely legitimate as well. A plethora of different ways to things to learn. To even start to try to list them, it wouldn't even be a point. If you want to learn it, you can probably learn it there. But a couple of other examples of things you can do freelancing wise, as a quote unquote independent contractor. Some of you all are familiar with things like Amway, right? What's the big one that they do? Do Avon, Tupperware. I don't know. Do they still do Tupperware parties?
I don't know.
They don't. Okay, but some of these
they sell online. Is about all you can. Yeah.
Okay. But some of these, I know they still do. Like Avon, people still sell stuff.
Yeah.
There are still ways to get involved in companies like that, and they aren't the only ones. So there are others as well. You definitely want to, if it's not a big one that you've heard of, you definitely want to do your research. Make sure you're getting involved in a legitimate opportunity. But things like that. Some other examples. I don't know why did I mention this? It's like all these examples I didn't even mention. Driving, right? Driving. So you have Lyft, you have Uber. If you have a car, you have insurance, it's a decent car. You can drive for Lyft, you can drive for Uber. Delivering. There's delivering food. So with food, you have Grubhub, you have Uber Eats, you have DoorDash. You can be a driver for that, make some extra money. And now the good thing about the delivering food, now because of COVID with touchless delivery, you don't even have to interact with the person. You leave it on their porch, you walk away, the app, you notify the app will let them know it's there, So there are ways to do that. And you can choose your own hours. So when you're off, if you don't want to work any this week, then don't, You just want to work Saturday morning, then just work Saturday morning. Totally up to you when you clock into their little system. That's the same thing with Uber and Lyft. So great ways to make a little extra money that way. Also, delivering not just food, but delivering groceries. We've talked about this just in passing, but you can be a delivery driver for that. So Instacart, right? An opportunity to go shop for people and deliver their groceries. Another food delivery, I think, is Postmates. You can do that as well. You can deliver with Amazon. So, as you all may have noticed, Amazon, yes, they still use UPS and FedEx. Unfortunately, I hate FedEx. But they also have their own trucks, right? But they also have freelancers, if you will, deliver for them. So you can go, I think it's called a program called Amazon Flex, I believe it's called. So you ever think about wanting to deliver products and things to people's homes and stuff, Amazon Flex, you can check that out. I want to say this. So all of these are ways to just raise extra money. Now, some people, can you make a full-time living? Yeah, you can make a full-time living driving for Uber, But what I really want you all to focus on, we're talking about developing multiple streams of income. So don't think about this as, will this replace my salary? You don't want to replace your salary. Right. You want to add to it, okay? And the reason is, again, it's twofold, really. One, we want to pay off debts. And two, we want to fund the creation of other streams. So these are your goals with this, okay? So just keep that in mind. I also want to, I was going to go straight into real estate today, but I actually want to add another, and let me see. I don't think I put the thing on. Yeah, okay, good. So this other one is called, I'm calling it microtasking. Now, what is microtasking? Microtasking is doing a specific thing and getting paid for it. I know that sounds, it's very like general, but let me try to explain it's hard to explain it because there are so many different examples of it. But you may have, if you've been online for any length of time, may have seen advertisements or something. Let me see the show of hand. Anybody ever seen the advertisement like take surveys online or get paid for surveys, stuff like that? That's an example of a micro task. You do the little task of taking a survey, you get paid for it. Maybe you'll get paid $3, maybe 10. Some of them, they even have focus groups where you participate with like 5 or 6 other people and you get paid like $50 or $100 for participating in the focus group. But those are opportunities to complete specific tasks like taking a survey and getting paid for it.
Don't they, excuse me, Pastor, don't they have something like being a critic or something like that, volunteering to watch a movie and giving feedback for that?
That's that's especially the case when it comes to participating in a focus group where you watch a movie and give feedback.
A focus group.
Yeah, focus groups. But many of the focus groups you're gonna find them through the survey sites, because the survey sites will basically be a collection of different companies that are offering to pay you for surveys, and they'll also have focus group lists as well for different focus groups that are available. Now, focus groups, you don't just go sign up for a focus group. Most of the time, the reason it's called focus group is because they're focusing on a specific slither of the populace. So you're gonna have to qualify for that. They're looking for women 35 to 40. They're looking for, gay men 25 to 35. I've gotten paid for surveys asking about gay men, and they either pay you with a $25 Amazon gift card or $100, whatever this is the case. So it depends on your demographic, but they'll ask you the questions to qualify you for the survey. But it's just something to think about. But yes, you can get paid for taking surveys. On the next screen, I have a list of resources that I'm going to give you tonight, where you can, so some of these will include survey sites, so you can go and it'll be a place to start at least. You can use Google as well. I certainly encourage you to, but make sure that you also, when you see a listing on Google, then Google that company too, and just see what people's experiences with them are. Don't just see it. Just because it's on Google doesn't make it legit. Okay, Google and get the results of the reviews and experiences of other people. But the ones that I'm going to offer you in today's resource list are bona fide, legitimate resources. They have things like, so you can get paid to transcribe. So let's say there's sometimes medical transcription that pays much more, but you have to have specific experience in that to do that. But for example, let's say that I have a conference and I want to get that conference available. It's on video, but I want to have it available in PDF file for people, right? I might pay somebody to transcribe it. Well, there are transcription services that have clients, and you can be a transcriber where they give you you have the online on your computer, the audio, and you just transcribe it. You type it in and you get paid for it. I actually did that a few years ago. So transcribing is completing certain tasks of transcribing audio. You can, again, Google transcription services. A lot of them are full because there are many people who are out there trying to find things to do. Here's one. Here's a resource from different work from home type opportunities. I don't have this listed in my resource list, but ratracerebellion.com. It's like trying to get out of the rat race, right? It has a list of a lot of different ways you can make money from home. ratracerebellion.com. Okay. So that's a good resource to check out. ratracerebellion.com. All right. So microtasking. And again, I have a list of different microtask sites on the resource list. Moving on from microtasking to real estate. Now, I'm almost reticent to talk about real estate because part of me feels like You know, they may think it's so far off, they're not going to really, you know, why even bother? But here's the thing. You can do the sales, you can do the blogging, you can do the affiliate marketing, you can do the freelancing, you can do the micro tasking to generate the funds so you can get into real estate. And listen, it does not take as much as you might think. You know that house next door to the church? That thing sold for like less than $2,000. Okay. You can do that, take it up, pay another $500 to tear it down, and then just sell the empty lot for like $3,000 and make fine, you know, whatever. I'm just throwing it out there. But there are homes that are not in horrible shape that are being sold for back taxes. Okay. And you can get that thing for like $2,000, $3,000. Now, for some of them, what winds up happening is you can buy it, but the owner, the pre-existing owner still has like a year to redeem it, to get it back. So what some people do, they have to buy it and then just sit on it for a year to give that person a chance to time out. And then they start putting their improvements on it and selling it. Now, technically, you can start improving it immediately. And what happens is, as you keep track of your records and what you're investing, when the homeowner wants to redeem it, the previous homeowner, they not only have to pay what you paid for the house, they have to pay for your improvements. They have to pay you back for your improvements. Personally, I wouldn't do that. I would just let it time out. I don't want to go into all that. So before I put any extra money in it, I want to make sure that, you know, it's going to be mine. But they also have some homes that they're selling for taxes have already been through that process. They've already been the year, and you can start doing it immediately because, you know, the time has already elapsed. So so there are homes on the sales list for real estate taxes, particularly for the city that I'm talking about, that have already aged out of that redemption period. Some haven't, some have. But you want to just, they give you a list of properties that are available. You can actually get this from the St. Louis City website of properties. Actually, I don't think it's on the city's website, but one of the other ones. But anyway, properties that are available, you can Google them. You can go to, you know, Trulia or real estate, realtor.com, see what their, you know, home value, what the home value is worth, narrow down your list of what you're interested in, what's in the range, price range, if you will. Go drive by it, take a look at it. Make sure the back is not torn out like the one at Fair on Grace. Well, it's on Grace. You know, do your research. People are making money this way. And you say, well, I don't know, Pastor, I don't feel these people are losing their house to taxes, and I feel like I'm exploiting them. Sweetheart, the house is going to sell regardless. You are not the one who put them out the house. And I think we have to be very careful that we don't let this, I won't call it false morality. It's a legitimate concern, but that we don't let it prevent us from utilizing opportunities that present themselves. You want to do something nice, start a nonprofit, buy the houses for taxes, and then sell it back to the person for the tax money. But think about it: if they didn't pay the tax, if they didn't pay the government, what makes them gonna pay you? You see what I'm saying? So you know, I personally don't think that there's a moral or ethical quandary about it. You hate to see the situation to be what it is. If the person is still occupying a property, offer them time to extra time to get out or whatever. I don't know. But anyway, I don't personally think that there are ethical quandaries regarding it. But anyway, that's the real estate tax aspect of it. But there are many other things. Now, I brought up the real estate tax side of it because that's a way to get in there much cheaper than some of the other options, because you can get properties for a few $1,000s. Now, this is not a price. What you see on the little price list for these taxes, that's not the sales price that you're going to necessarily buy it for. That's the minimum bid. These are auctions. So the minimum bid is going to be, the government wants to get their tax money. So that's the minimum bid, but you might be bidding against other people. These are also cash sales. You can't go out there and get let me go get out there and get a personal loan or a mortgage. These are cash, you need the money, okay? Cash sales for this stuff. But again, these other things are ways that you can generate that money so that you can have it available to take advantage of some of these opportunities. You would be surprised. Some of these homes you can buy for $3,000, put another $7,000 into it. In some cases, you don't even have to put that much into it. And you can resell it. That's called flipping, house flipping. You can also rent it out, have rental income, okay? Now, let me talk about rental income for a moment. So probably the easiest way to get into rental income, and for you all who have houses, you probably, won't go this particular route, but you can still take advantage of rental income. If you don't own a home, one of the wonderful things about rental income, and this is the way that you can get into the thing very easily, instead of buying a house, buy a duplex, buy a fourplex, a triplex, right? What you do is you live in one of the units and rent out the other one.
Right.
And depending on how much you bought it for, your other tenants can be paying the mortgage. If you buy a quad, 4 units, you can be renting it out and have 4 units coming in. That pays the mortgage, insurance, and still puts a couple hundred extra dollars in your pocket, right? You're going to need to take that money, especially if it's your first one, and put at least, I say for the first 6 months, put all of it, but put at least half of your profit into a savings account to cover expenses, because you're going to have expenses associated with renting. You're going to have pipes burst, and you're going to have different things, maintenance issues to take care of. Just call Dickie William, have him come out there and fix it for you. No, I'm kidding. But you will have expenses associated with that, so put your money away. Don't just squander it. Put the money away. Remember, we're saving money. You also, people don't realize, we have, ever since we bought our house, it came with the home warranty from American Home Shield, AHS. And so we pay, if something goes wrong in the house, we pay a $75 deductible, and then they pay the rest, right? Well, after our home warranty that came with the house expired, we decided to renew it. So we've had it since we bought the house. And I think we've been paying it ourselves for like 3 or 4 years. And it's like $50 a month. Anything goes wrong, we pay the $75 deductible, and they fix it. They deal with it. So you can actually put a home warranty on duplexes, on triplex, on multi-family properties, what they're called. And so if something goes wrong in one of your tenants' units, you pay the deductible. So it's a cheaper way. You think, well, I gotta fix the pipe if it bursts. Well, if you have a home warranty, you can get it fixed that way. It's not going to be as cheap as with the single family home, but it's still a great resource to have available. Just like you would have insurance. So if your car breaks down or something like that, or a car warranty, excuse me. So if your car breaks down, like I have used so many times, you have that help. You can do that with your rental property as well. That will hopefully alleviate some of the stress associated with wondering about the maintenance concerns. What I will say is this: there's a reason why people who are in real estate are millionaires.
Yeah.
Well, that's just maintenance. That's a headache. Get over it. You have more of a headache going to your 9-to-5 job. Don't be afraid of doing this stuff. See, we let fear keep us away from different opportunities because it's something that we're not accustomed to, because it's something we're not used to. There's a person in my family who worked two jobs, and one was across the street from the other one. And she had worked there basically all her life. And so when one of the jobs closed, she's like, oh God, now I gotta get another job. But I've only worked here. So I don't even want to work anywhere else because it's all I know. But when all you worked in is corporate America, that's all you know. And what I'm saying is there's a reason folk are making a killing. Be willing to do new things. Be willing to try new things. And what if I lose money on my first attempt? Then you lose money. It's a learning experience. You learn from it, you grow from it, but we have got to stop letting fear paralyze us and prevent us from doing things that will actually produce the life that we want. Because like I showed you already, saving ain't gonna do it. And you better believe that the company you work for ain't gonna do it. The executives are making $17 million a year, not the employees. They are not interested in making you wealthy. And the truth is, neither should they be. It's not their job to make you wealthy. It's your job to make you wealthy. And you can't get wealthy working for somebody else. Okay? Let that be your way of sustaining yourself. But these other things that you're doing for you, this is your way of working towards your own financial freedom and independence. So be willing to do that. I say that because I know we're talking about something as big as real estate. You know, many of you are like, "Oh, it sounds good," but I don't see myself ever doing that. That's the problem. I need you to start seeing yourself doing it. Okay, you got a community right here in the church. You don't have to do it alone. Go into business with somebody else who might be interested in it. Let's say when I got 2,500 saved up, how about you get 2,500 saved up, and then we go to one of these auctions and see what we can buy. You know, I don't. So I'm just saying, be willing to think outside the box. Well, I don't know if we should go into deal. Should we? I don't think we should go into business with each other. Listen, once again, we gotta stop letting the old way of playing it safe. That you played it safe and you stayed broke. You ever heard of something called business partner? The reason business partners exist is so you can leverage one another's resources. So make up in your mind, if this venture fails, I'm not leaving the church. We're not blaming Pastor Romel. We're gonna get over it and keep it trucking. But be willing to do something different and not feel like you have to also shoulder the whole burden yourself. There are resources and ways to go about doing that. Even investing, there are investment clubs where you don't have to invest just by your own self. You can connect with other people and you all pool your money together and invest together. I'll talk about, I hit the button and brought up the other thing. I'll talk about that a little bit more later. So rentals, so getting duplexes, renting it out. You can also do Airbnb. If you have an extra a room in your house that you want to rent out, do Airbnb. People are always traveling, especially when it's like a big game, World Series in St. Louis or something like that. They be renting in those apartments. So something else to consider, Airbnb. Maybe you buy a house, right, for $4,000, and then you put it on Airbnb. You know, different ways that people make money. Guess what? When we took our when the church went to Branson for its retreat, guess what? That wasn't a big corporation. That was a guy who had bought the house and rented it out.
Right.
And he's making money. And we paid over $1,000 for one weekend. What about during the week? What about the next weekend? Think about how much money this man is making. So these are opportunities that we can take advantage of if we have the gumption to do it. I want us to really, really, really let go of the fear factor. All right. There are also opportunities. I'm not big on this idea. But there are also opportunities for like subletting. So let's say you lease a property, you lease a room, not a room, you lease an apartment or something, or a house. And if you have to work this out with the property owner, but you can sublease it. So let's say you lease it for $800 a month, but you can find a renter that'll pay $1,000 a month. Well, there's your $200 profit by subletting. Again, you need then it can be worked out with the property. You can't just do that on your own. You can work that out with them though, but some don't mind. So rental, that's rental. Here's another idea. They have what is called seller financing. If you all have ever looked at buying a house, sometimes the seller is willing to finance it for you so that you don't have to go to a private bank and get a mortgage. Okay. Well, how about this? How about you sell or finance the house and then rent it out? And so you're financing it and you're paying $500 a month, but you're able to rent it for $800. If you're seller financing, guess what? You own that house. It's seller finance, but you are the owner.
Mhm.
You can rent it out. You don't need their permission. And some seller financing deals, especially if you talk to them about it up front, they will actually, and it's like if you let them know you're in real estate and what you want them to do, they might give you like 6 months rent free to help get you set up, to help you, do what you want to do or whatever. Or 3 months rent free so that you can fix it up, give you some time to fix it up. There are different ways that you can work out deals and things. So one thing I'm big on, it's silly, but like at a restaurant, I don't mind asking for a discount. If I have a coupon that expired, I don't mind showing it to the waitress and say, look, this expired. Can you still give me this discount? Guess what? All he or she can say is no.
No. Yeah.
And I said, okay, well, thanks anyway. Right? So if you have a seller financing deal, ask, haggle, talk, make deals, be assertive. There are deals out there to be made, and many of them are win-win situations. So don't be afraid to consider those opportunities. So I talked about flipping, buying a house, a fixer-upper, throwing a couple $1,000s into it, fixing it up. One of the keys, though, do as much of the work yourself as you can.
Yeah.
So learn the skills while we at the church fixing stuff up. Learn the skills, and take it over to your own house flip, and do as much of the work as you can to save your bottom line, and then you can sell it for greater profit down the road. Here's another opportunity. It's called crowdfunding. So have you ever heard of the life insurance policy called GoFundMe?
Oh no.
Yeah. My grandma died, so we created a GoFundMe page to pay for her funeral. Sweetie, that's not a life insurance policy. Call MetLife, right? But people use it as the idea of, it's called crowdfunding, where many people give smaller amounts and you can reach your greater goal. You don't need one person to give you $5,000 if you can get 100 people to give you 50, or 1,000 people to give you 5. Crowdfunding. Well, there's also crowdfunding associated with real estate, where you can actually get involved in real estate through crowdfunding, where let's say you only have $500. You're not going to buy any property for that amount of money, but you can participate in a crowdfunding where all of the crowd's money gets put into a pot, and then the manager of the pot, which is likely a realtor or real estate company firm, they actually buy the properties and administrate it. And so they'll buy it, either flip, they can buy and rent out. Most of them are for rentals. And then whatever share of the money you put into the pot, that's the share, the percentage of the profit you'll take out of it. Okay. It won't be as profitable as doing it yourself, but because of course the company who's doing it, they have administrative fees. They're doing some work too, so they should get paid for it too. But it's still, especially when you don't have quite as much to get involved in real estate yourself, it's a way to still get your foot in the door and get some income coming in. So something else to consider, crowdfunding. Again, you can do some Google searches for different ones, and search for the list of companies, then start searching for each company specifically. What are people's experiences with this company? Do they pay on time? Do they have this, how are their last deals gone? Do your research. And this is so wonderful because you don't have to go to the library and order microfiche. Just Google it. It's so easy. Don't be lazy. Do your legwork. Do your work. All right. Do not come to me and say, Pastor, which one should I go with? Because if it don't work out, you not come back to me and say that I gave you bad advice. Get on Google for yourself and do the research. All right. So that's real estate. Any questions about real estate? Obviously, I'm not a real estate broker, but I, just what information I do have, I can.
Well, I have a comment about real estate. I know people that have been in that, like renting houses and things like that, and how they had to, when they, one of them had, it was a Section 8 recipient, and they would have to keep going by, and because, but they were definitely getting the rent every month. If it's Section 8, you guaranteed to get your money, but they still had, had to go fix things if things went wrong. They had to go cut the grass, and stuff like that. But the other person, they have a place where they tell you that they can send their rent to, right? But they weren't paying the rent. One other lady didn't have the Section 8. She was renting direct to the people, and she had to go over there and bang on the door, to get the rent. And, I wouldn't want to go through all of that. So that was those two experiences from those two people discouraged me from ever even considering real estate. So
Okay. So here's the thing.
Well, I was just going to say, just for here's an example though of something that Pastor's talking about. I rent, and the owner of the house rents through a management company. Now, there are times that I talk directly to the owner, but if I need a repair or whatever, so I have a little bit of a relationship with the owner, but if for rent collection or anything else, it's strictly with the management company. We never talk about rent or anything. The only reason the owner and I talk is we have a pretty good relationship. And so when we've had to have some repairs, she wanted pictures of something or this or that. So we email back and forth, but she doesn't do any of the rent collection or anything. She has actually a real estate company that collects the rent and makes sure the contract's up to date and the whole 9 yards. So she doesn't do any of that administrative stuff. She is just the owner.
Absolutely. And that was exactly what I was going to say, that you can outsource all of that. You can outsource it all. And so, because think about it, how does somebody who has 100 properties, they're not managing those properties themselves. Most, and like the apartment that we came from in Manchester, that was a management company that took the rent and stuff like that. We didn't know the owners, and so yeah, you can outsource all of that. Now that cuts into your profit because you're outsourcing it.
Right.
But,
so you have to pay for that.
But if it's heartache you don't want to have,
right? I would say that it would be worth it. Yeah. But so this outsourcing company. So what if you do have a tenant that is actually not paying their rent? Are they the ones that would do the eviction, and all of that little stuff? Oh, okay. Because
my landlord or the owner is not really my landlord. The owner is the owner. My landlord, so if I'm not paying or if there's an issue with my rent, it strictly goes through the management company. Now, it just so happens I have a little bit of a relationship with the owner. And so sometimes because she likes me and she thinks I'm a good tenant and she's had bad tenants, she will tell the management company, no, do it this way. Because, like, for example, when I took the house, the refrigerator, they put refrigerator as is because it was a really old refrigerator. So when the refrigerator died and I called and I said, hey, the refrigerator died, the management company said, well, you took it as is. Not our problem. However,
I wouldn't like that.
But he went back and said he said, but I can go ask the owner. So he went back, he asked the owner, and the owner came back with, I really like her, and I'm willing, if she's willing to stay for at least 2 years more, like I'm going to go anywhere, I'll buy a brand new refrigerator. So he came back and he said, okay. She said she'd buy a new refrigerator. and she says she's going to call you. So she called me and she said, okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to Lowe's, pick out a refrigerator. Here's the amount of money you can spend. When you get the refrigerator picked out, have them call me and I'll give them the credit card number. Now, that's where he backed out of it and she jumped in.
Mhm.
But I think if she didn't like me and didn't care for me as a tenant, she would never have done that.
Right, right. But
So
you know,
I think that your management company kind of is that hard line person. But like I said, because she and I have built a little bit of a relationship, she's willing to work with me on some stuff.
so when I go into something like this, then I already own the building. Like say I get an apartment building and there's 6 families that could be in this apartment building. But one of the tenants in that apartment is not paying their, so this is another person that I just thought about who had bought a building. I don't, but anyway, the tenant wasn't paying, so he had to pay. Now he tried to get her evicted. He went through a whole lot of trouble. He
Mhm.
couldn't get her out of there. Even the courts wouldn't, they wouldn't let him put her out. He even got the sheriff and they couldn't put her out. And so I don't know how long that he had to go through this, but it was over 6 months that she lived in that place for free.
Well, that's honestly, that's what you should expect. Evictions are going to take usually at least 6
Yeah.
months.
Yeah.
That's the norm.
Okay.
Because and that's because and that's for the protect, because you have to remember when you're evicting someone, I mean, obviously the owner doesn't want to have to do that either, but
Right.
you actually are putting somebody out on the street. So the government is going to favor the evictee in terms of trying to give them more time to get things together, whatever. There is going to be a process that has to be gone through. But like the other city said, if you don't have a management company, you as the owner are going to be the one doing the legwork on that. But if you have a management company who has the experience already,
Right.
they know the ins and outs,
They would take care of those kind of things too.
Yes. Well, it
Well,
depends
honey, I'll
on
tell you, that would be worth it.
yes, it depends on the contract you have with them. And all of this will differentiate how much money of the rent, what the percentage of the rent they're going to keep based on what level of management you're assigning to them. But yes, that can all be outsourced.
Hire me.
Say what? So look, Ty said she'll do it for you.
Yeah, hire me. I'll do it. I
Wanna-
have experience in that.
I want to do Airbnb and then hire Ty's company to clean.
Yep.
So see, we got the resources right here. Come on, y'all. What's
Yeah.
up? What's up?
That's
Let's
right.
make
I
a
didn't think
deal.
about you when you're trying to get the place ready for rental. You
Mhm.
have Ty to come in and take care of all that kind of stuff. Oh, honey, okay, we
Well,
about to
that's
start
what the
something.
man- Like he said earlier, that's what the man said. I mean, the man did basically, the guy that owned the places that we went to, because those weren't cabins, those were vacation homes. And that's all of Airbnb is. It's just in the city instead of out at some other destination. Now, mind you, most places you have, it's completely furnished. They're expecting dishes and glasses and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I got a ton of that crap downstairs now. So like, I would love to open a small one just to start off to see what it would look like. But Airbnb also takes away, like, I'm more interested in Airbnb than I am with being rental properties because I don't have to worry about evictions. You're going to have a better class of people that are going to do to rent them. And when people who got more to invest than you do with that type of rental property. Rental property is a roll of the dice. But I have a friend in Birmingham who actually called me or inboxed me the day after I got fired, asking me about doing some administrative work for him long distance for it, because that's what he does back in Birmingham. And he makes good money, but it's a crapshoot. If he has 20 properties, one of them or two of them, are not so great tenants. So, and I'm not saying that Airbnb is 100% perfect, but it's less of a headache from what I can see.
And what we have to realize is that in any business that you go into, there's something
There should
called
be
the
something.
cost of doing
Yeah.
business. That's just
Absolutely.
part of the cost of doing business. But there's a reason people are still doing it. And that's because they're making a killing. Okay, so yeah, you're gonna have some bad tenants. You're gonna have unruly tenants. You're gonna have people when you put them out, they're gonna get mad and they're gonna put cement down all your pipes. It's the cost of doing business. Okay?
Yep, I know a place, my friend of mine bought this house, and she got it real cheap in University City. But what happened was that they evicted these people, right? And they tore the kitchen cabinets out.
Mhm.
I mean, they really wrecked that place. So yeah, people will. I mean,
But here's
yeah,
the thing.
I've heard some horror stories.
Here's the
No,
thing.
and the friend that I know, they took every single window out of the house. I mean, like removed the windows and took them with them.
Here's the thing. If you don't, so if you want to buy a cheap property, put minimal money into it, and then just try to get all the money out of it you can, you're not gonna find the right kind of tenants to take that property. You need to invest in it, get it up nice, set it at a reasonable price, and then do your credit checks.
Mhm.
See how do this. Don't just rent to somebody who come. I need somebody to stay. Baby, can I have your social security number? Right?
Mhm.
Do your credit checks, see people's history of paying, get references. Where did you live before? There's work you can do to help mitigate some of these issues, preclude some of these issues.
Okay.
It
just
won't
hold
get rid
on.
of all of them, but it helps. All right, so we got to move on to the next one, stock investment. So for investing stock, this is a much more long-term way of generating wealth. This is you got to be in it for the long haul. All right. So if you're looking for a quick turnaround, this is not the one for you. All right. You only invest what you can afford to lose. If you can't afford to lose it, don't invest it.
Mhm.
And that goes for any business. If you can't afford to lose it, don't invest it. It's kind of like loaning money. Baby, if you need this money paid back, you shouldn't be loaning it. Now, you should want it paid back, but if you need it paid back, don't loan it out. Because you can't guarantee it's going to come back. Okay? Same way with investments, with stocks. Stocks are not guaranteed. Companies do well, companies do poorly. They go up and down, up and down. So there's no way to know. You do your study, you study stocks and their histories and things, but at the end of the day, it's a gamble. It's an educated gamble, but it's a gamble. It certainly is. Should be a part of everybody's portfolio eventually, but I do not recommend it starting off. You want things that are going to provide a shorter lifespan, a shorter return, so that you can put that money back out to work for you. But I do think that we should be including them in our portfolios long term, though, eventually. All right, so let's get some resources. WordPress.com. This is for blogging. If you want to create a blog, this is a very easy way to do it. WordPress.com. There are many other platforms. Google them, but this is just one example. I gave you Freelancer last week. Fiverr gave you that last week. User testing. This is a micro. I was talking about micro tasks. Well, user testing allows, maybe you want to test the newest iPhone that comes out, so you can be one of the people who provide feedback. They call them beta testers, right? We're creating a new browser, and we need people to test it to find the bugs and to learn their experiences. How can we improve the browser before we bring it to market? Well, usertesting.com is one source that you can go to and register as a tester and become a tester for different products. There are others. Google it.
You
Yes,
know,
ma'am.
something like that usertesting.com. Would that be, like they got this book out, something PC for dummies or something like that? Well, wouldn't they want somebody that's not very experienced in it? Maybe they could, you know what I'm saying? Or would they want someone that's experienced in it?
Both yes and no. They will give the criteria they're looking for. Sometimes they want somebody without experience, but sometimes they actually want somebody who's experienced. So it all depends on the offering, on the product offering. And oftentimes when you're testing a physical product, they let you keep your product. You can have product. You don't have to send it back. So that's a good way to get your little iPhone, get your little this and that, but that's an opportunity. Oh, I forgot to mention this: mystery shopping. many of y'all may have heard of that. Mystery shopping is when you go to McDonald's and get bad service. It's one thing to just give a bad review, like to go to the little thing on the bottom of the receipt, right? But some companies want to actually hire you to go and to shop their store so that you can share your experience, so they know how the people are doing. That's called mystery shopping, where you're shopping, but you're shopping on behalf of the owner or the business. So many fast food places, there are some, like, for example, I was one day, I decided not to, but for like, it wasn't Carg, it was Valvoline. They wanted me to get my oil change. They wanted to know how the experience was. So here I'm going to get a free oil change. Now, as a mystery shopper, I have to pay up front because I'm having the shopping experience. But they're going to reimburse me for the oil change. And in some cases, they'll reimburse you and then pay you. So in some cases, you just get the free oil change, which is good enough. But in some cases, they're going to actually pay you on top of that. So some may pay you $100, some may pay you $50, whatever the case is. So there are different companies that have different offers. You can register for mystery shopping companies that that connect you to these different companies, so you can take advantage of whichever offers you want to take advantage of. You're under no obligation to do it. It's totally things you want to sign up for. And in some instances, you should just use it as something. I want to go shopping. Let's see if there's a mystery shopping offer available. You know what I mean? Where you're not doing it in order to get the money, but because you're doing it anyway, here's a way to get money, or here's a way to get it for free. I need an oil change. Let me see if there are any oil change companies offering mystery shopping opportunities, and that's a way to do it for free or to get paid for it. And you want to need it done anyway. So you take that money you got, put it in your investment fund, right? Put it in your my real estate fund that I'm building money for real estate or whatever. So just ways to generate extra cash. You are not going to make a full-time living, okay? But these are ways to generate supplemental cash, supplemental income. All right, anyway, I was talking earlier about completing surveys, being involved in focus groups. Here's one site, surveyjunkie.com. Surveyjunkie.com. There are a lot more. There are a lot more. Google them. But again, when you find the list, Google the company too and find out how they do. But that's one, surveyjunkie.com. Swagbucks. Swagbucks offers a lot of different opportunities to earn very, very small amounts of money. And I mean very small. But surveys, they'll pay you. You can earn Swagbucks for like doing searches, for watching videos, for getting emails. Do not sign up with your main email account. Create a new one. Okay, because you will start getting a lot of email. Okay, create a new one just for this. Okay, another one is called Inbox Dollars. I don't have it on here, but Inbox Dollars, DOLLARS.com. Again, don't use your main email account. You are not going to make a lot of money on this. You might make $10 in 2 months or in a month. You're not making a lot of money. So the key is, do not use something like Swagbucks or Income Dollars. Do not sit there with your dedicated time and participate in this. You are not going to earn enough. But what you do is, let's say you're decompressing on the couch, binge watching TV. Take out your phone, go to Swagbucks, and while I'm sitting here watching movies, I can just be completing little tasks, and getting and building up my little account, So it's not worth your time when you're dedicating time to it. But if you're just doing other stuff that gives you that free opportunity to do that too, that's a good way to add a little money. But you definitely don't want to give dedicated time to it. Doesn't pay enough. All right, selling photography. These are what's called stock photographs. When something is stock, there's a stock. It's considered a royalty system. When it's a stock photograph, when you can buy a photograph and pay a lot of money for it. When it's a stock photograph, they can resell the photo to many other people. And because they're reselling it to many other people, you're able to get it cheaper. So if I need a photograph for my blog, or I need a photograph for something I'm doing or something, I can go to Shutterstock.com, pay, $5, I don't get exclusive rights to it. I can buy exclusive rights, but that'll cost hundreds of dollars. I can get it for $5 and utilize the photo, but they're also going to resell it. But I don't care if they resell it to other people. I don't care, right? So it's a way to get cheaper photographs. Well, just like there's a market for the photographs, you can be the photographer, the one providing the photographs. So if you enjoy photography, go out there and take pictures of nature, take pictures of kids playing, take pictures of water running down a stream. If you have a drone, take video of the drone flying over land, flying over property, do this and that. You can make money that way too. Realtors oftentimes are looking for people with drones who can do aerial shots and aerial video of property they're selling. You can do that as well. But you can sign up for these sites and put your photographs on there. And every time somebody wants to buy it, you get a large percentage, probably like 80% or something like that, a large percentage of what they're paying for it. And again, it's a digital product, which means you can sell it over and over and over and over again. You can, once you put it up there, you forget about it. Go about your business. It's up there now, and now it can start selling, right? But you can make it like a hobby, right? Where every week you're going to add 3 more photographs to your portfolio, and you can wind up having hundreds of photos available that people can purchase over time, right? Take good quality shots. Go to Udemy and buy a $10 course teaching you how to take good photographs, right? How to use the different features on your thing, how to use the different what do you call those, lenses, right? So you can learn how to do it better. Because when you make good photographs, you can make some money on these sites. All right. So good ways to do that. Very easy and good way to produce some. And this is passive income. Once you put the photograph up there, you don't have to worry about it anymore. You don't have to advertise it and get people out there to buy it. No, they're going to be the ones providing the advertisement for it. Okay. So just opportunities.
Pastor, is there a selection process in regard to which photos they take? Or, I mean, I'm sure they will.
Yeah, it depends on the site. Some yes and some no. Particularly the ones that are yes are going to be your more prestigious stock photograph companies. Have you ever heard of Getty Images? Getty? Getty Images actually provides stock photography, and they have a much more. They pay more attention to who's submitting what. But some of the other ones is just available, and if somebody wants it, they want it. If they don't, they don't. So it depends on the marketplace. Good question, though. Good question. So these down here, these are for, I mentioned earlier, mystery shopping. So these are mystery shopping websites that you can be a mystery shopper for. IntelliShop, MarketForce, BestMark. Again, there are others. Do your research, do your information searches. All right. So are there any questions? All right, I don't want to take this to another week, so give me 5 more minutes. I want to rush through this last screen. This is for when you actually want to create a business. I'm going to rush through this really fast, so I hope you take good notes. Creating a business, you got to register with the Secretary of State. How do I start it? I don't know where to start. Well, here's the thing. If you want to be a sole proprietorship, you don't have to register with the Secretary of State at all. You can just do business, okay? Mm-hmm. But generally, you don't want to do business in your own name. You want people to you want to do business in your business's name. Well, you can do that too as a sole proprietorship, but you'll need to register for what's called a fictitious registration. Fictitious means a fictitious name. It's an entity that doesn't exist. It's fictional, but it's like, Ty's House Cleaning Service. Well, she doesn't actually create the business entity. She's just doing it under that name. Fictitious registration is also known as DBA, doing business as. But what it's called when you go to the Secretary of State's office, what you're looking for is a fictitious registration. You can do all of this online now. When I first started out, I had to go down to the Wainwright building downtown. Now you can do it all online, okay? So you want the fictitious registration. Now, if you want to actually potentially, so it'll be easier to keep your business expenses separate from your personal expenses. Yeah. If you actually register a separate business, And also, if you ever want to hire employees, you're going to need this. And if you want a bank account, you're going to need this in EIN. EIN is Employer Identification Number. Okay, it's basically a social security number for businesses. They're all called tax IDs. For people, your tax ID is your social security number. For businesses, your tax ID is your EIN, Employer Identification Number. Even if you don't have employees, it's still called the Employer Identification Number, EIN. So you need that, all right? But you need to register with the Secretary of State's office to get an EIN, all right? Now, you can do it as a sole proprietorship, very easy to do. But you can also do it as, what I would personally recommend is do it as an LLC. LLC is limited liability company. It has the benefits of a corporation, but also the benefits of a sole proprietorship. It's kind of like a combination of the two. Okay, so I would personally recommend registering an LLC. It's about $50. About $50, I think. Not expensive at all. You can do it online. Now you can all do this in one day. You can get your Secretary of State registration. You can get your EIN number online. Your business registration is with the Secretary of State's office. Your EIN, that's not a state matter. That's a federal matter. Okay, so you register with the EIN with the IRS for the EIN with the IRS. Ooh, excuse me. So you want to go to irs.gov, or just Google EIN registration and make sure you go to the IRS website and not one of these other companies who want to do it for you and charge you for it. You can do it yourself, and it takes 5 minutes. So don't pay anybody to do this for you, okay? You get your EIN number after you register with the state. You're going to need that EIN if you want to open a bank account. So I certainly suggest that you open a bank account and that you get your EIN number. Also, if you want to charge credit cards, in most instances, you will also need an EIN number in order to register to be able to charge people's credit cards, okay? So that's securing a way of receiving payments. So you want your PayPal account, you want maybe a Cash App business account. Now, listen, don't just use a personal account. They do have Cash App business accounts. You want to have a professional appearance. If you're going to be giving out your, I do photography. So this is like, Damien's Photographs. That's my business name, right? Do not send people to damiensphotographs@gmail.com. That is so unprofessional. I hate seeing people's businesses associated with a Hotmail or Gmail account. Do not do that. Okay. Register you a domain. You can get a domain name for $10. With GoDaddy, sometimes you can get it for $2. They have a special. Register a domain name, and you can have your emails going to that account. So Damien at damiensphotographs.com or admin at Damien. It just looks so much more professional, and it's extremely cheap. Like $10 a year. Okay. So do that. You don't need to have a website necessarily, but register a domain account. Do not do Gmail and stuff. Same thing with securing a thing. Get a business PayPal account. Get a business Cash App account, okay? Or merchant account. Merchant account resources, keep your business and personal funds separate. They're very important. Merchant account resources. So I mentioned PayPal, I mentioned Cash App. If you actually want to be able to charge people's credit cards.
After your slide went somewhere.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done with the slide.
Okay.
What was the last part?
The
last line?
Keeping your personal and business accounts separate. That was the last slide. So your payment services. They have what's called your own merchant account, but generally if you want to get them like through something like authorize.net or something like that. But the thing with those is these traditional, they're going the way of the dinosaur. Because they charge you a monthly statement fee and a monthly a transaction fee. So you're going to pay like $25 minimum. If you charge nothing, it's still $25 a month, plus your transaction fees. Well, now they have other resources available. You don't have a monthly fee. With PayPal, you don't have a monthly fee. You just charge per transaction. Same thing with Cash App. But if you actually want to charge people's credit cards yourself, let's say you're out of the vendor fair and you want to be able to swipe cards and stuff like that. To swipe cards in person, many of y'all at the church already know this, you can use Square. Square. I think that's through who owns Square? I think it's American Express. No, it's I don't remember who it is. Anyway, to register for them, it's extremely easy. To register for them, you go to squareup.com. SQUAREUP.com. Very easy, very cheap to register for them. No monthly fees. They deposit within like 2 business days. Excellent resource, okay? If you don't have a swipe, maybe you want to charge people online, okay? Through your website or something like that. I would recommend utilizing Stripe. That's STRIPE, stripe.com. The church uses Stripe. So when people contribute through our website, it's using Stripe. You don't see it's using Stripe, but that's the gateway behind the website. You're just paying on the website. So you want to create a website to sell your things that you're buying at the dollar store, things that you're buying at the auction. You can set up a Stripe gateway for that. So that's what you have. So you have a recommendation for in-person charging with the swipe, online for Stripe or Cash App. Also, I would certainly recommend don't let Cash App be your, if you want to do Cash App or PayPal, that's great, but use them as supplements. Don't let them be your only way of accepting payments. It adds to your own business image to have your own.
The fees gonna eat up 20% of your
That's
income.
that's part of it too. You want to have the multiple opportunities.
You gotta have them
because you want to make it easy for people, but you don't want it to be the only opportunity because it takes away from the bona fides of your business.
Or you could get smart and do like a lot of people do. You just, let everybody know that there's a processing fee. Like if you're gonna use PayPal, there's going to be a $5 processing fee for using PayPal, or $3 or whatever the case is.
People do that. I personally would not recommend that. Number one, it discourages people because number one, it discourages people from buying. And number two, it's the cost of doing business. So rather than, if you don't want people to pay through PayPal, rather than knowingly passing off that fee to your customer because it might discourage them from purchasing for you, just up your price.
Yeah.
Just add it to your price.
Okay.
That way they won't know it. That's what you're doing.
Right.
Because it really is just the cost of doing business. Like the church right now, when you all pay with your credit card and debit card, the church has to pay transaction fees for that. And in our next business meeting, I'm gonna show y'all how much we've been paying. So listen, if you can use your check, please write a check. There are no transaction fees with checks and cash. We still want it available because we want you to be able to utilize any opportunities you can utilize. We don't want you to say, well, I'll bring it next week. No, baby, we'll swipe it. But it's the cost of doing business. And we don't, pass that, transaction fee on to the people who are giving. It's just the cost of doing business. But if you do have a check, write a check.
Because I was highly disappointed in our money we raised for painting, and I don't even know how much went to the fees. I was like, oh God, we need all of this money.
Yeah.
It's not too bad. It's generally what you can expect to pay and track with whatever company you use. You can generally expect to pay about 2.75% of each transaction plus 25 cents. So usually there's a flat fee of about a quarter or 30 cents, usually it's about a quarter, plus about 2.5 or 2.75%. That's what you usually can normally expect. But now when the church is bringing in, let's say $30,000 in a year, and that's 2.75% of that is $8,250.
Oh wow!
So it matters.
Yes,
it matters. So,
oh wow.
I'm sorry. That was my fault. I did the wrong math. It's not 8,007. It's 800.
Oh, okay. That's how.
Still a lot of money.
You
but
just
it's not
scared me.
Yeah.
Well, that's, oh my God.
I missed the decimal place. All right. We went over. I apologize, but I didn't want to take it to a whole other week. I don't want to let the elders get back to theirs. Any questions? I beg you, read over this. Think about it, brainstorm, think, dream. Don't just let this be information. Put this stuff to work for you. This is an opportunity. Oh, I want to say one more quick thing. Strategy. you have two things you want to do. You want to get out of debt and you want to build income. Okay. Here's the question. What do you do first? Do you pay off your debts or do you invest? Which do you do? Here's the thing. Generally, this is the general answer. You want to pay your debts off first. And here's why. Most debts are charging you a heck of a lot more than you're going to earn through an investment. So a credit card that's charging you 20% interest or even 15%, which is actually pretty good. Even a 15% interest rate is still, but your 15% income on your investment is huge. Okay. Most incomes like between 8 and 10.
And rare.
And rare, right? And rare. Most like between 8 and 10, even with real estate, 10%, usually about 10 to 12% is considered a very good investment. Okay. So, but you're paying way more than that on a credit card, usually. So unless you have like stellar credit, all right, you don't worry about your mortgage. Keep your mortgage. Don't pay the mortgage off. Keep the mortgage because you're only paying 2, 3, 4% on the mortgage. Keep the mortgage, okay? But your car notes, depending on how much the interest rate is, definitely credit cards, pay the debts off first because you're paying more in the interest than you're going to earn in your investments, all right? So that's what I would suggest your strategy would be first.